February 28, 2026. For 36 years, one man's signature was on every major decision Iran made, every missile fired, every nuclear centrifuge spun, every proxy network funded, every protester imprisoned. On February 28, 2026, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed in a joint U.S.-Israeli strike on his compound in Tehran. His daughter, son-in-law, grandchild, and wife all died in the same attack. But here's the question that actually matters for the next 30 days. Who controls the missiles right now? That's what we're going to answer today. Welcome to AEGIS Intel. To understand what his death actually means, you need to understand what the Supreme Leader actually does. Because in Iran's system, this is not a ceremonial position. Under Article 110 of Iran's constitution, the Supreme Leader controls the armed forces, the IRGC, the judiciary, state broadcasting, nuclear policy, and the final word on all major foreign policy decisions. He appoints the heads of the judiciary. He approves presidential candidates before they even appear on a ballot. Iran has only done this once before. When Ayatollah Khamenei died in 1989, the transition took less than 24 hours. Khamenei was named successor the next day. That was in peacetime, after a ceasefire, with years of preparation. This time, active war, no declared successor, most senior candidates killed in the same strikes, and an IRGC that has now effectively been running military operations independently for months. Iran's constitution has an answer for this. Article 111 establishes a temporary three-person leadership council when the Supreme Leader dies. As of March 1st, that council is now running Iran. The three members: President Masoud Pezeshkian, the moderate elected leader with no military background; Chief Justice Gholam Hossein Mohseni Ejei, the hardliner who ran Iran's judiciary; and Ayatollah Alireza Arafi, a senior cleric placed on the council from the Guardian Council. This council has constitutional authority, but it does not have IRGC loyalty, missile launch codes, or operational command of Iran's armed forces. Iran's foreign minister has admitted publicly that the IRGC is operating on its own. That means Iran's most powerful military force, the one controlling the ballistic missiles, the drone arsenal, the proxy networks, is making independent decisions. That is not a government in control of its military. That is a military that has temporarily outgrown its government. The Assembly of Experts, 88 senior clerics elected every 8 years, must now convene to choose the next Supreme Leader. They need a simple majority, but they're trying to hold a constitutional procedure while missiles are flying, and their own office in Qom was struck on March 3rd. Here are the four most credible candidates, and what each would mean for Iran's military posture. Candidate 1, Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the Supreme Leader. Mid-50s, deep IRGC ties, never held public office. IRGC-linked media is already pushing hard for him. But father-to-son succession contradicts the founding principles of the Islamic Republic. It mirrors the monarchy it replaced. If elected, hardline continuity, IRGC consolidation of power, likely escalation. Candidate 2, Hassan Khomeini, grandson of the revolution's founder. Mid-40s, reformist views, previously barred from running for the Assembly of Experts. His own words, "Sometimes dignity is born through war, and sometimes through holding firm in the field of negotiation." If elected, the most likely opening for de-escalation with the United States. Candidate 3, Alireza Arafi, currently sitting on the Interim Council, highest visibility right now. An extreme ideological hardliner described as a compromise candidate the IRGC can control. His status after the March 3rd Qom strike is unconfirmed. Candidate 4, Ali Larijani, former IRGC commander, parliament speaker, nuclear negotiator, the most experienced operator alive, and the man who led the February 2026 nuclear talks with the Trump administration, most likely to seek a negotiated exit from the current conflict. One obstacle: the Constitution requires a senior jurist, which Larijani is not.
This is the most operationally important question in the world right now. Iran has an estimated 3,000 ballistic missiles in its arsenal, several hundred Shahed-class drones, cruise missiles with ranges up to 1,650 kilometers. Who can authorize their use? The answer, as of today, the IRGC Aerospace Force, now operating with de facto independent authority. Under Khamenei, missile launches required supreme leader authorization for strategic strikes. With the council in place and the IRGC operating on its own, that chain of command is ambiguous at best, broken at worst. The Strait of Hormuz question is also live. Iran's parliament voted to close it. The Supreme National Security Council, now effectively headless, has not yet issued the order. But the IRGC Navy has the mines, the fast boats, and the coastal missile batteries to execute that closure within 24 hours of an order, or without one. 20% of the world's oil supply passes through that strait. The economic consequences of closure would be felt within days, globally. The next 30 days will determine which of three paths Iran takes. Scenario A: rapid succession, de-escalation window. If the Assembly of Experts moves quickly and elects a pragmatist, Larijani or a Hassan Khomeini, Iran has a mechanism to accept a ceasefire without appearing to surrender. Oman's foreign minister says a peace deal is within reach. The February talks showed both sides have an interest in an off-ramp. Watch for any direct communication between the new leader and Washington. Watch for the strait remaining open. Scenario B: IRGC consolidation, controlled escalation. The IRGC backs Mojtaba Khamenei or Arafi, secures the succession, and continues the current campaign. Intermittent missile strikes, proxy pressure, economic warfare, without crossing into all-out war. The regime survives. The conflict freezes at current intensity. This is the IRGC's preferred outcome, and they have the leverage to achieve it. Scenario C: regime fragmentation. If the succession process collapses, factional infighting, further assassinations of candidates, or IRGC units acting without any central authority, Iran could fragment. Not collapse immediately, but lose coherent command. This is the scenario where an accidental or unauthorized missile launch becomes a real risk. The March 3rd strike on Qom suggests Israel is actively targeting the succession process itself, raising this probability. Ali Khamenei ruled Iran for 36 years. He built its missile program, its proxy network, its nuclear ambitions, and its resistance to the West into the defining features of the modern Middle East. His death does not end any of that overnight. The missiles still exist. The IRGC still operates. The proxies are still armed. But the single authority that held all of it together and made it coherent is gone. What comes next depends on who sits in that chair in Tehran, and right now, no one knows. We will update this analysis as the succession develops. Subscribe to AEGIS Intel. We cover every development, the weapons, the strategy,
the people who command them. Our next special report is already in production. Operation Rising Lion: How Israel Destroyed Iran's Air Defenses in 12 Days. That drops this week. This is Aegis Intel. We'll see you Thursday.